It's Rich, Tennessee Homestead. How the heck are you? Hey, today's barn chat, we're going to talk about how to get advice on things and kind of explain to you why you could go out and talk to 10 different people, get 10 different pieces of advice. So you want to really find out who you're going to take your advice from, and based on what sort of crop, animal, whatever you're wanting to raise. Okay, I'm going to give you a hand with that today to give you some pointers. So stand by. We'll be back in just a second. How the heck are you today? I'm going to straighten up my camera here just a bit, and let's talk about advice. Had some interesting questions come in, and one fellow I can understand where he was a bit concerned, where he was getting advice on feeding steers. Me myself, I had told him, very very limited on feeding. I'm not a big believer in it. I prefer grass-fed beef. Pays a premium price at auction, and it's been proven to be healthier meat for you. Okay? Now, you talk to a regular cattle farmer, he's going to tell you, here's a way to do that. And he is going to, if he's not raising grass-fed beef, he's going to throw quite a bit of feed at that animal. If you go down and talk to your extension office, they're going to give you whatever the USDA is telling everybody to tell everybody. Okay, at that point in time. Please try to keep in mind it was the USDA who said that one of the best ways to feed cattle was to feed them ground up dead cattle. That worked out well. Okay, so be a little cautious on that. All right. Is somebody wrong that throws a bunch of feed at an animal? No, they're not. Okay, matter of fact, one of the fastest ways to fatten up a steer is put it in a small pasture where they have limited mobility and keep feed in front of them 24/7. Okay? Them little suckers get fat fast. Is it going to be a lot of water weight and bloat? Is it going to be a lot of fat? Yeah. Okay? It is. Where grass-fed beef is a lot leaner beef, and you actually have to start feeding them up the last couple of weeks before butchering so that you can get enough fat on them, especially if you're going to have them hung out to cure, which is basically hanging the carcass for 30 days, because they can only hang it for as long as there's body fat to be absorbed in. If it doesn't have enough fat, they can't hang it. All right? Something to think about. So yeah, I usually will take, when I'm getting ready to process a steer, I'll start throwing feed at it the last couple of weeks. Now, not a heck of a lot. And I make sure it's a good organic, non-GMO feed, which is going to cost. All right? That's the way I do things. All right? You can put 10 guys in a room that raise cattle, they're going to give you 10 different ways. If you went and talked to Danny King down at Great Deep South Homestead and asked him how to grow corn, he's going to tell you. All right, he'll lay out his plan for growing corn. He'll tell you what kind of amendments you need to make to your soil to make sure your nitrogen's high enough, blah, 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 how to plant it, so forth. And you go back and talk to a conventional grain farmer. Now, he's going to come in with, well, first thing you want to do is hit your field good with a pre-emergent herbicide. Wow. Okay. Now, he may not be using the dicambas and stuff of that nature. He may be using just good old-fashioned Roundup or another. But he's going to tell you, because you want to try to knock down the weeds the best you can. Because once corn goes in, using conventional corn, you can't use a herbicide on it. Okay. Does the conventional corn suck up some of the herbicide? Yes, it does. Okay. Then you go to the extensions, and they're going to give you the Monsanto mantra. Okay, burn that baby down with dicamba. Come out there with our latest and greatest seeds and coatings and yada yada yada. Yeah, you're going to have a nice GMO crop of corn standing out there, and it'll be pretty, and the rows will be clean. Okay, know what you're looking to do. You need to really get your questioning down to how do I grow a good crop of organic corn, if that's what you want. Things of this nature. And even Danny will tell you, okay, with his corn that he developed down at Deep South Homestead, he's kind of excited about all the people that are buying it from all over the country because he wants to see how it does elsewhere. It is bred to his location. Same thing you find on livestock. Okay, I can show you beautiful cows coming out of a pasture in southern Tennessee. All right, will that cow do as well in northern Michigan? Probably not. Okay, will it do that well 100 miles from now? 100 miles from where the farm's at? You're going to have to look at condition of the soil, the fertilization of the grass, things of this nature. There is a big difference between a well-maintained, well-fertilized, okay, pasture and a bunch of scrub ground that hasn't seen fertilization or anything like this in quite some time. Your cattle are going to do different. Your goats are going to do different. Okay, goats will do a little better in that kind of environment than what cattle will. So take a look at what you got, folks, and understand that you may be in Michigan and I'm in southern Tennessee. Well, now I'm in middle Tennessee, really. There's going to be some differences. I've already noticed some big differences out looking at some properties up here in the condition of the pasture lands. All right. A lot of feed is being done up here because the quality of the pasture isn't there. I see very little pasture rotation and pasture management. Very little. Okay. So by that not happening, they're not building that soil back up. Okay. And the quality of the grass isn't there. So always keep that in mind. About the only guys you see out doing any real work on their on hay fields and so forth are the guys that are selling horse hay and things of this nature. So they're out fertilizing and things of this nature. A lot of the cattle farms are not. Okay, can't say all of them, but a lot of them aren't. And I drive by one farm every day that I just get irritated. The guy's got plenty of land for the herd he's got. Plenty of land. And he does move them around pasture to pasture. But you'll see that these cows eat that down to the ground, okay, before they get moved, which is not good for the grass. Takes it a long time to recover. And his cows look hungry. When you look at the side of that cow is hungry. It's not getting enough tonnage out of those pastures. He's leaving them on there too long. So you'll watch when he changes pasture, the rumens get full again. They're looking a little healthier. And then by the time a month or so goes by, these cows are getting back scrawny again and looking sad. And then he'll move them again. Okay, you don't want to. He's on a roller coaster. Puts weight on the cows, takes it off. Puts it on, takes it off. Puts it on, takes it off. You want a steady upward climb, period. So, these are things that when you're asking questions and stuff, have a little bit of an idea what you're looking at. If nothing else, ask the question. What's the best? Is organic corn better than GMO corn? Get that information. All right, make your decision. Okay, I've decided I want to grow organic corn. Then you need to go to somebody that's growing organic corn and say, how do you do this? All right? Raising steers to eat. Okay? If I'm eating it, it's going to be grass-fed. That's simple. Period. End of quotation, because I know that the nonsense that gets into this GMO feed, I'm not going to be feeding it to them. And you don't want to have to, let me tell you something, if you want to pack some weight on to go ahead and cure your beef out, where you're hanging it for 30 days, you're going to spend some money in organic feed. Stuff's not cheap. All right, you're not going to be picking that up for another $10 a bag. All right, you're going to spend some money. So keep these kind of things in mind. And there's nothing wrong with not aging the beef and just taking it straight out of the pasture to the slaughterhouse. Nothing in the world wrong with that. I do like to feed at least enough to get some marbleization in the meat. Okay, put a little extra fat on. But I know what that cow has ate all of its life, and I know that I don't have any herbicides and I don't have any GMO product and so forth that has been inside that cow. I'm not going to have to deal with that in the meat that I'm going to be putting inside me. So I'm going to do it different than others. Others see nothing wrong with feed the heck out of it. Feed them up. Well, you're putting a lot of GMO product in there. You're putting a lot of glyphosate in that cow. You're putting a lot of these herbicide residues in that cow. Is that something you want to put in you? Okay. If you're growing your own food to try to get away from that sort of stuff, then you need to kind of take that kind of advice and just push it away. Yeah, that's not the way I want to go with this. This is going in me. All right. And like I said, the extensions are going to mimic whatever the USDA is telling them to put out there. And if the past history is anything to look at, they don't call it the USDA for nothing. They are wrong, usually more than they're right. Try to keep that in mind. Okay? So take anything that the USDA tells you with a grain of salt and go out and talk to the experts who are out doing it the way you want it done. All right? Know what you want. If you're going to be raising chickens and free ranging them and raising them organically and so forth, there's people out there like Patera out of Appalachia's Homestead. She does a great job. I've raised a lot of chickens, bred a lot of chickens. Okay? Do it a little different than Patera. Okay? But neither her way nor my way is the only way. And I'll almost bet you that Danny and Wanda are doing it a little bit different and still having great deals of success. Everybody adapts it to their place. But the first thing you got to do is seek advice based on what you want for your homestead. All right? If you don't mind spraying herbicides and throwing GMO feed down your animals' throats and things of that nature, then go seek advice in that line. But for heaven's sakes, don't go to an organic farmer and go, well, nobody else told me that, because an organic farmer is going to tell you different. Okay? Because we're not doing it the way everybody else is doing it. So when you start looking for advice, kind of have an idea of what you're looking for. All right? Like I said, if you're talking about raising up a steer, hey, throw it in a little bitty pasture where it has limited mobility. Just feed the snot out of it and let it go. It will get fat fast. Will the meat have good solid texture and so forth? Probably not. It'll be like you buy in a store, because that's where they come from, folks. Come off of feedlots. That's the guy who, if you're looking to sell calves, is going to be sitting there with a big tractor trailer buying steers. Because he's going to take those steers and he's going to run them onto a feedlot, and he's going to put a bunch of weight on them very quickly and run them out to the processor. All right? Different ways to do things. All right? You need to keep that in mind when you're asking questions. Because, yeah, there's 1,000 different ways to do it. So when you're thinking about stuff like this, the first question you got to answer is, what do I want? Do I want grass-fed organic beef, pork, chicken? Do I want organic eggs? Do I want organic produce? And you want to talk to the people doing the organic, okay? And that's where you're going to get your solid advice. If you try to compare that to what modern big ag is doing or what conventional ag does, it's going to differ. Okay? None of them's wrong, other than I would have to say the modern big ag GMO throw dicamba all over the stuff, so they're wrong, folks. They're just flat wrong. And they're killing our land. But conventional farmers, they're doing it right to mass produce what they need to mass produce. Okay? At least they're not killing the soil. Organic, they're doing it right. They're the good stewards of the land. All right? And they're also trying to produce a product that will do your body good, not harm. So keep these things in mind when you're asking you questions. Just thought that might be a little information that you could kind of stick aside in your head when you're out talking to people and you want to find out what kind of operation they're running. All right. And then judge whether you want to take any of that advice. Be careful of extension offices. I've ran into very good ones, okay, who lean more organic than not. But then I've also seen a lot of them that will follow right down the USDA marching orders. And those guys you want to be very careful of. Okay? So I hope you're having a blessed week, and I hope you had a great weekend. And we will talk to you soon. Hope this information helped. Like I said, I saw where there's some confusion out there. You want to make sure that you know what you want. All right? What do you need on your homestead? What do you want on your homestead? What kind of food do you want on your table? And then from there, go find out how to get it. All right? Folks, have a good day. Love you and appreciate you. Talk to you later.